Hello and welcome. I'm Jon Garlick, and I'm here with the Sheriff of Calhoun County, Matthew Wade, and this is Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Hello, Sheriff.
Always good to be on the show, John. I tell you what, summer, it is hot, hot.
It is hot. And you know who else is hot? Your deputies.
That's right. Another arrest this week brings our count up to 5,194 people arrested, all because somebody was willing to help us. I promise you, next week we're going to have more than one. I'm going to work with the deputies to make that happen.
And that hasn't got anything to do with the fact that schools are starting next week, does it?
School is starting next week. Oh my gosh, summer just seems like it's blinked by. It's still, very hot. But next week school does start back for county schools. Our SROs will be in the schools. And this year we have two new additions. They're four-legged SROs.
Really?
So we've had two dogs in schools in the previous years, but this year we're adding two more, and these are floppy-eared dogs that the kids can come pet, and they're also protecting them. And these kids love these dogs. These dogs love those kids. And we won't discuss exactly what the dogs can do, but they're out there to protect the kids, and they become the mascots of the school, and we're really excited to have them.
So how many dogs will that make in the school?
It'll make four dogs.
Oh, wow.
So our goal is for every SRO to have a dog with them, and so right now we have 7 SROs, and 4 of them will have canines. So our goal is we're working with the Calhoun County School Board, right. and we've had some partnerships. They bought one, I bought one, we split one. We've earned one in a different way, kind of a scholarship method. And so those dogs, they really give a reason for those kids to dialogue with the SRO. And it builds relationships and bonds. They ended up, students will end up taking care of the dogs some during the day, and they'll dress them up in their beloved mascot colors. If you're a Valley Cub like I am, they put the orange and black on them. If White Plains will be, blue and white. So it becomes part of the community, and we're really proud to have them, and it does make a difference within the school, not only for protection, but it builds a bond between that school resource officer and those kids, and it gives them a reason to meet and talk and have a conversation, and we're really excited to have them.
Well, that is exciting. And you know what else is exciting? We're going to be back with the first half of the lineup and then a very exciting guest here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. And welcome to this week's edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Our lineup this week brought to you by Abe's Ace Bail Bonds. Abe's Ace Bail Bonds located in Heflin in Cleburne County. That number 256-463-1824, and in Calhoun County 256-831-0074. First up in our lineup this week, Troy Payton. Mr. Payton, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for failure to appear on a sex offender notification violation. And this is Alexis Hines. Miss Hines, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for a grand jury indictment on child abuse. And take a look at Nathan Higgins. Mr. Higgins, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted on a bond revocation for murder. And this is Logan Casey. Mr. Casey, last known to be living in Anniston. He is wanted for a sex offender notification violation. And take a look at Keandra Morgan. Mr. Morgan, last known to be living in Anniston, wanted for probation violation on robbery third. And that's it for the first half of the lineup. Stay tuned for the second half later in the show. And welcome back. We hope you saw somebody in that half of the lineup. You might know where they are, and if you do, call Sheriff Matthew Wade. You call, he hauls. We are here with my old friend Jake Mathews, prominent attorney in town, well-known actor, and now serving on the board of Habitat for Humanity.
One thing that Jake also does, he's been very active in jail ministry for how many years?
You make me think about my age. It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
When I started, it was Miss Skinner.
That's right.
And she had been coming there to do jail ministry probably since maybe 60 more years, but back when Roy Sneed Sr. was the sheriff.
Wow.
And then Miss Champion came along, and those ladies faithfully came to the church for over, not church, to the jail over 60 years.
Wow.
Miss Champion's still living, but I think she's in her 90s and has dementia now, but what a faithful servant. We have we are an amazing community. Sometimes when we get focused on the negative things that there are some really good people that I've grown to know and love. And one of those is, of course, Miss Skinner and Miss Champion. But women have been a big part of my life. In fact, that's how I got involved with Habitat. Is Martha Vandervoort got me involved in that years ago. And of course, we kind of traded off because Martha and I did several things together. One, we used to work together with children of inmates called Angel Tree, not the Salvation Army program, but this was Chuck Colson. And so she faithfully, I mean, Martha was scared of nothing. She'd be riding around West Anniston with a car full of kids, and I miss her. But that's how I got involved, and of course, that's how Habitat came to be here. Martha and several women in the junior league decided that they wanted to do something more than just, sit around and drink coffee and tea or whatever. They decided to come up with a big idea, and that was Habitat. And so here we are, years later, 159 houses later.
Wow. Tell you a story. Jacksonville Police Chief Marcus Wood.
That's right.
His family, him and his mother, built a house through Habitat. He was a young man, and he showed up every day at the construction site.
Yeah. And
he met a guy named Mr. Miller, who was helping build the house.
Yes.
And now Mr. Miller calls Marcus his son.
Yeah.
That bond was built through Habitat from Humanity, and the impact that Mr. Miller that had on Marcus had a strong impact to what he is today, which is a very successful man. The chief of Jacksonville Police Department, he worked for me, was a good person, and it's just those kind of stories come out of things like this. And is that the only thing that shaped Marcus Wood? No. I like to think there's a lot of people in Marcus's life that shaped him to make him who he is today, which is a great person. But Habitat was a good start.
Well, and not only that, it is about relationships. And the relationships that he formed certainly impacted him and created new friends because, and Habitat's all about not letting any racial or religion or any barrier to reaching out and helping those. Because Millard Fuller, the founder, believed that we needed to do something more than just, our faith is important, but faith is what, as James says, is useless without works, and faith without works is dead. Well, works is what Millard Fuller came up with. I like telling it about because he had the same experience, not exactly how that he made a bunch of money, but he graduated from Auburn and went to law school at Alabama. And then he and Morris Dees, you ever heard of Morris Dees, founder of the Southern Law Poverty Center? They made a bunch of money at the university. I don't remember, selling cookbooks or something, made millions. And then Miller decided that was keeping him apart from his wife and his priorities wasn't right, and they decided to give it all away. And he went to a place over in Georgia called Conania Farm, which was a place that lived as the early Christians did, where they all worked together. And so that's where the idea of Habitat was birthed. And it's kind of interesting, Alabama connection. And of course now it goes worldwide. And the millions of dollars and millions of houses and all the things that Habitat has done is one idea, one person and his wife made a decision. And that's what I find here. Those same kind of people are right here. I'm sitting by two of them. They get things done. They're leaders, and leaders are important, but relationships are important, and where your heart is. And that, to me, is the challenge that we have in the days ahead. I was involved early on in politics, but I've gotten to the point where the change comes about when you and I decide we can make a difference here in this community. And that's where we are. You're here by choice, I'm by choice. We could be somewhere else, but we're not. So why we support, I invite people to join us. We've moved now our headquarters over here in Oxford. You can see us right there on the I-20. Right behind the Love Stuff sign. I'm sorry, but if you're coming from the exchange, but we've got a Restore, and the Restore is very. We got all kinds of things. Do not go out and buy any gloves, because we got more gloves than we can shake a stick down there. But we got all kinds of things that you can use and build in the house. Wow! So it's an interesting thing. I can't think of another group like it in our community. And we have been successful because we've had good people. Our director is, I think she started when she was just in college, and now she's our executive director. And of course, she's on the board of the state, and we enjoy her service as well as our board. And Marcus, as you mentioned, Marcus is on our board. And as the sheriff has pointed out, he is good advertisement because of what he says, but that story is repeated over and over again.
Well, Jake, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about Habitat for Humanity, but stay with us for the second half of the lineup here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. And welcome to the second half of our lineup. First up this half, Sarah Miss Vick, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for failure to appear on robbery third. And take a look at Lonnie Lee. Mr. Lee, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for a grand jury indictment on rape second. And this is Barbara Joubran. Miss Joubran, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for chemical endangerment of a child. And take a look at Quiriam Mason. Mr. Mason, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for a probation violation on attempted murder ×2. And meet Kellen Foster. Mr. Foster, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted on a grand jury indictment of rape first. And that's it for our lineup this week. If you have any information on the whereabouts of these folks, please give Crime Stoppers a call. That number, 1-833-251-7867. Welcome back. We hope you saw somebody in that half of the lineup. If you know where they are, call the sheriff's office. You call, they haul. We are here with Jake Mathews, well-known man about town, philanthropist, humanitarian, and on the board of Habitat for Humanity. You were talking before about how many houses you've built and how many you've got going right now.
Well, the Habitat is completed 159 houses. The most recent one was up in Jacksonville, and that was in honor of Ron Heineman, who was one of our executive directors a few years past. And so Ron has been instrumental, and of course Ron reflects what Habitat is all about. Is that it is volunteerism. You know, I always like what President Bush, Daddy Bush, said about 1,000 points of light. Well, we've got that here. Sometimes we don't think so, but there are lots of people. I think we have kind of a silent majority. A lot of people just aren't the ones that the media or out on social media pontificating. We've got great people in our community, and that's what Habitat is all about. We've been very supported over the years by Grace. They do the Lobster Fest, and that's a major contribution. But also it provides an opportunity, if you got a group at your church that you want to get to know someone, working on a house, even if it's a Saturday, whether it's painting. Now, you know, I'm not necessarily known for my skills as a carpenter or anything of that. I helped get my wife to be disabused of that idea early on when she asked me to change a toilet seat, and I decided a screwdriver and a hammer would help. And $175 later, I had a new toilet seat and a new toilet under it. So she never asked me to do any more of that kind of work. But I can get out and talk about it, and I love talking about Habitat. And it's because of the people that we've got, and it is about service to the community, and that's what Millard Fuller was all about. This is a hand up, not a handout. They don't, it's not a free house. I think Marcus, when he first saw it, hey Mom, we can get a free house. Well, it's not just, it's interest free. They pay the principal, and they provide work hours. And of course, we have certain criteria. You got to be able to pay the payment. And of course, we have people that scrutinize. So I mean, we've got all kinds of committees that look at that. Of course, we're also a banker because we also collect. So we also can work with people at times that maybe get behind for whatever reason. But we have a lot of different people, cogs into the machine, that are working to make this thing happen. And I think that's why it's been successful, and it'll continue to be successful.
So if people are interested in seeing how they qualify
right.
a Habitat home, what's that process?
Well, they can go online on we've got an application process, and they can find out when we're having our meetings to tell people what's all involved. But you know, we're looking for new people to build houses for, and of course they need to submit that application. They can go on our website. I think if you Google Anniston Habitat, I think you'll come to our website, and then you will find that information. But no, it's just getting that process. Our office now is over here, as I said, in Oxford. And if you over there on Old 78, and what is that, where the cement plant is, you turn right there and you go right up till you hit the interstate, take a right, and we're on the right. And so that's where our offices are now, and our restore is. And of course, if you've got stuff, furniture, things of that nature that you want to donate, we'll come get it. Call the number and let us know, and we'll come get it. Most anything that's useful in a house, we can take, or building materials, any type of thing. You know, I often have said, if we could just get people to give all the stuff that are stored in their attics, you couldn't handle it all. Right. I mean, you think about what we all have, and I'm trying to go through that. I'm not very good at it, though. I'm not exactly a hoarder, but I don't throw away anything, because you throw it away and you say, a week later you'll find, dadgummit, I threw that away and I need it now. But we have all kinds of things down at the restore, and it's good, a good opportunity. But the other thing is, if you got a group that wants to do a project, and they want something, even just a Saturday, or different groups have come in over the years. AmeriCorps, come in. We had a group that comes in from Minnesota, and they come in and work a whole week. They give up their vacation to come down and build a habitat house.
Wow.
So I mean, it's about people, and that's what when you get people together, and like I said, when you get someone out there and you're helping one another, you also talk with one another. And that's probably something we don't do enough of these days.
Yeah, that's true.
We're all into these little things, and I guess the future for us is, how do we teach our grandchildren to have a conversation? Because
that's becoming very tough.
It is, but it is a wonderful opportunity to do something for good, and to show others the love of Christ that comes by doing something for someone.
So if somebody, an individual or a group, want to volunteer, how do they get that information? Just
call us. Our number is, I don't know if I've got it handy here, but our phone number is on our web page, and you can call that at any time. I think we're open Mondays through Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday. Then we open on Saturday. The restore is. So I mean, they're always somebody there to answer the phone.
So you can support this mission by donating stuff to the restore, volunteering your time to build a house, and if you're interested in getting a habitat house,
yes,
you go online and make the application.
And then we'll get back with you, and of course, like I said, you'll have to show the ability to pay, and of course that's part of it. But like I said, when you're only paying the principal, then we can put a more affordable payment for people, because that interest, as you've known, if you've ever compared the difference between a 15-year and a 30-year mortgage and realize how much interest you're paying, and you say, maybe I can tighten my belt a little and make it a 15, but that is the thing, and that's a biblical concept. So I mean, that's the inspiration, and that's where it came. And Millard was always big on the idea that it is the Word, and showing how we apply that in our lives is what he was all about.
Well, thank you, Jake. We appreciate you coming on and letting us know all about Habitat. And folks, we will be back with the Crime Stoppers portion of the show and the Crazy Criminal here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. And welcome to the Crime Stoppers portion of our show, where we ask your help on the following cases. Between July 1st and July 17th, a residence was burglarized on Airport Road in Oxford. A gas water heater and a Cub Cadet lawnmower were taken. And on July 21st, a license plate was stolen from a vehicle at Alexandria Brake and Muffler on Gladden Lane in Alexandria. The suspect was driving a black Dodge Ram 1500 and was wearing white pants and a gray shirt. And on July 12th, an unknown suspect attempted to steal a Honda four-wheeler and a Toro zero-turn lawnmower from a residence on Vineyard Road in Alexandria. The suspect was a white male wearing a camouflage shirt and blue jeans. And between May 29th and May 31st, a 16-foot black Craftsman utility trailer was stolen from the Department of Conservation on Joseph Springs Motorway. And that's it for the Crime Stoppers cases this week. If you have any information on these cases, please call Crime Stoppers. That number, 1-833-251-7867.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
It's crazy criminal time.
You know, in today's world of technology, people think they can hide behind it and not get caught, and that's just not the case. Zachariah Peterson from close to Kansas City, Missouri, wanted to get his buddy off work at the Ford plant there, and so he made a swatting call. If people's not know what swatting is basically he made a call saying that they were barricaded in people were barricaded in the Ford plant upstairs bathroom with explosives and weapons. So the whole plant was evacuated, and it took the police about 6 hours to determine that there was no threat in the building. And Zachariah used an app. He downloaded an app to obscure his number. Well, it didn't work. So you can see he's here. He got a little smile to his face. He did get his friend out of work that day. It didn't say why they needed off work so bad, but I think calling in sick would probably be better than doing a swatting call. So now he's got a felony for a terroristic threat. Probably cost him about $10,000, $15,000 and up to 7 years in jail. You know, technology is a wonderful thing, and people think they can hide behind it, but in today's world, we will find you. And if you just want to not go to work, there's better ways than making a swatting call.
Yeah, just call in or quit. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
But speaking about work, Sheriff, you're always hiring.
We're always hiring. You know, starting pay for a deputy sheriff's around $40,000 a year. There's raises every year, guaranteed. And you know, I'm trying to look into see what the average pay for a deputy at 5 years is, but I'd imagine it's probably over $50,000. Good careers, way to make a difference in your community and help people, and we're looking for those people. I like to call them difference makers. You want to be a difference maker? Come see us.
There you go. And how do they do that?
They can come to our website, our Facebook page, or just, like I say on our commercial, plain old-fashioned phone call to us. We'll get you fixed up.
That's fantastic. It's a great career. I can vouch for that. Sheriff can vouch for that.
I can.
And if you want to give back to the community and help people when they need it, law enforcement is the way to go, and the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office is the law enforcement agency to be at, right?
I agree with that 100%.
Well, we hope that you will tune in and be with us again next week when we go through our most wanted list, Crime Stoppers, and the sheriff gets to tell us all about the crazy criminal. And we look forward to seeing you again, but hopefully not in the lineup here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.